Hi guys, welcome to your lesson on graphing. Your learning intention is to organize and interpret data in a graph. And you will be successful if you can accurately read and construct a graph. So what is a graph? Well, a graph is defined as a visual display of information that is used to detect patterns. There are several different types of graphs, and by no means are we going to cover every type of graph today. But the first type is a circle graph. Now, you've seen circle graphs many times, probably, and one of the other names for a circle graph might be a pie chart, and you'll remember what they look like when you see this one. Now, this is a graph that's broken down into several pieces, and they're color-coded. Now, graphs that are circle graphs or pie charts do not have to be color-coded, but they're more attractive when they are. So when we do a circle graph, we would probably want to color code them just to make it easy to see the differences between the pieces. A circle graph or a pie chart is able to show how a fixed quantity is broken down into its parts. For instance, the graph that I just showed you was a graph of activities at Hogwarts. So someone took the time to make a graph of the activities at Hogwarts, indicating that the majority of the time, as you can see on the graph, that they believe is spent in getting it completely wrong until the week before the end of the school year. And the second portion of the graph, this blue part, the majority of the time in Hogwarts was spent eating. And then the next amount of time, most amount of time, was breaking the rules and not getting caught. So this was someone's imaginative work with the movies about Hogwarts, showing how the time that's spent at Hogwarts is broken down into its pieces. Now, another type of graph that we often use is called a bar graph. A bar graph is a graph that's used to compare information collected while counting. Now, this first graph here is about hours of television watched. All right, so this is the number of students, and this is how many hours they watch television. Now, this graph would be better if it said per day or per week or per month or per year. But as you can see, only about 4 students watched 0 to 2 hours of TV, and only about 4 students watched 15 to 17 hours of TV. All right, the next graph that's on here is about favorite fruits, and it's set up a little differently. Over here, it has the type of fruits that are liked, and over here, down here, it says how many students like them. So it looks like 5 students liked bananas, and 3 students liked peaches. So this is able to compare amounts or quantities that have been counted. That's a bar graph. And of course, the most important type of graph that we have is called the line graph. Now, line graphs are very important in science because they're able to show trends over time or coordination between 2 factors, like fertilizer and plants, or fertilizer and plant growth. So here I have a line graph for you, and this one says temperature over time. Temperature is on the y-axis. You see it there, temperature. And time is on the x-axis. Time, whenever we graph it in this class, will be considered the independent variable, and it will always be on the x-axis. So temperature is going to be on the y-axis, and this is actually the heating curve for water. So as time passes by, the temperature of the water, which is at this point frozen, goes from below 0 to 0, and then it stays at 0 for a little while, and then after 20 minutes, it is now starting to increase in temperature until it gets to 100 degrees Celsius. And then at 100 degrees Celsius, it stays there for a little while, and then it starts to increase again. And of course, we all know this is the boiling temperature for water, and this is the freezing temperature for water. So this shows a trend over time, a trend in temperature over time for water. And one of the things that we need to remember about line graphs is where the independent and dependent variables go. So we use DRY-MIX, and you've heard of this before. Dry mix. Dry stands for dependent variable, responding variable on the y-axis. Mix, the manipulated variable, which is called the independent variable, is on the x-axis. For hints on how to do graphing and how to make a graph by hand, I would like you all to take the time to go to this website. It's bozeman-science.com/graphing-data-by-hand. bozeman-science.com/graphing-data-by-hand. It's a very informative video that Paul Anderson has put together to help you learn how to do graphs by hand. I'll be referring to these methods in class, and you can use this video as a way to review. So take the time to go look at this website, and good luck.